we need to negotiate with City Council to get the most we can for our students. That's a big priority of mine. But we also need to operate within the budget we've been provided. It's very much like all of us had to do over the past 6 years, which was tighten our belts to make our own payments for electricity and host mortgages and so on and so forth. We need to do program reviews. So there's too many times, and it's on my sheet, it's one of my priorities, is we keep adding things as a school system to employees' plates, and nobody ever takes a look at the table and sees how congested it is. We need to take things off the table if we're going to add things to the plate. We need to review programs that aren't effective anymore and remove them. There's too many things out there that are not being effectively used. They're a waste of time, which is critical for teachers and employees, and they're a waste of money. So that's what I would do. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Weems?
Yeah, interesting question. VBTA did not endorse me either, but I was told it was for a different reason. And they actually endorsed Ms. Holtz, I think, that did vote for the tax increase. So it's kind of interesting how that is going down. Who did not vote for the increase? I'm sorry, Ms. Holtz did not vote for the increase and they endorsed her. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I think you have to take every situation. At the time, I actually called 8 city council members when we were going through the big tax increase, and I got about 3 different responses from 2 city council members saying, we don't need a tax increase, we've got to do some more diligence, we need to scrub the budget, we have the money, to, that's the only way you're going to get money for education. So at that point, with such a wide variety of comments from the people who give you the money or ask for the tax increase, I did not feel that at that time it was appropriate to vote for it. Again, it's each situation. I will never say never, and you look at every situation and see.
Melvin?
Well, I was endorsed by the VBTA, and don't be afraid of that, because it's okay. I never was asked the question about a tax increase. It was never part of my interview. I think we need to work hand in hand with City Council. We cannot be afraid to ask them for money. The VBEA this go around is more concerned about teacher morale. The fact that classrooms have changed over a short period of time, and oh, I thought that was the stop. Yes.
30 seconds.
It was never even part of my interview at all.
Okay, Mrs. Strangways? I can see you now. Thank you, sir.
So I was not endorsed by the VBEA, and I'm not ashamed of that either. I do believe the VBEA has some legitimate concerns, but increasing taxes for teacher pay is not a legitimate reason to increase taxes. I do not support increasing taxes for that position. Running a business, even in 2009, 2010. Our revenue streams came down. I needed to make sure we took care of employees, and I found ways to increase our raises at a minor rate, but it did increase. But the way we did it was by wringing out inefficiencies and prioritizing our programs. This is what we need to be doing in the school system.
Before we get to Ms. Ryan, Ms. Melvin would like to have 30 seconds.
And I meant, since I did just I had a lot of time left, I meant to say that I did spend 14 years in the classroom, and I never was a member of the Virginia Beach Education Association. I never paid them a dime. So I wanted to make sure you knew that I was not a VBA member that received the endorsement for that reason. I received it for other reasons.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes. I do have a VBA endorsement, and I believe, I know that it's the strength of my diversity of background, my business and education background, my PTA involvement, the homeschool, family school connection that's so critical. In terms of teacher raises, which again was not part of my discussion either, but certainly it's part of the strategic plan to retain and to recruit and retain high quality staff and to keep pay competitive. I keep zoning in on operational and financial efficiencies within our existing framework to make that happen. Thank you.
Okay, the next question, Mr. Brunke, we'll start with you. Who supports all-day kindergarten? If yes, why? If no, why?
I do not support all-day kindergarten across our entire city. The fact of the matter is, we already have all-day kindergarten, or full-day kindergarten, in all of our Title I schools. We also have extended day kindergarten in all of our schools, in which we reach additional kids that need some supports. There's a lot of research, we've seen the research on this ourselves at our own school board retreat, that says full-day kindergarten helps a kid succeed at the end of kindergarten, but hasn't really provided a platform for him to be successful, him or her to be successful through third grade. And what's happened is by the time you get to third grade, those benefits have worn off. Our cost in our city is going to be $12 million to implement full-day K. One of the reasons is the first thing we have to do is get rid of all of the Title I dollars that could support our current program. So we would be providing $12 million worth of revenue to provide full-day kindergarten to the other half of the students who currently don't need it. Those that need it most already receive it. And I see that stop sign coming up, so thank you.
Mr. Kelly?
This is one of those where you know the person before you is going to say pretty much what you said.
You want to finish my statement?
No kidding. I do not support all-day kindergarten, and it's a tough issue because it becomes very personal when people talk about the education of their children. But I'm a researcher. That's what I do for a living. And even though he talked about the school board retreat having research, I've done my own, and in 2012 was the latest study. I wish I had the guy's name. He slipped from me now. He was really trying to prove that it would be a beneficial thing. What he found was that it's beneficial in high-risk, high-poverty schools. And the kids catch up by third grade, but actually after third grade, they still lose the catch-up. But it's still good in those schools. They found that in the majority of middle class and upper middle class schools, it actually has no benefit. So therefore, you're providing additional money to pay for something that actually has no end benefit for the students, no additional benefit for the students. And in tight budget times, I cannot turn around and say we're going to spend an extra $12 million on something that has actually no true benefit for the students. So I would not support it in all schools. I would support it in the needy schools. Thank you.
Ms. Williams?
Again, ditto, we do have all-day kindergarten for our most at-risk students that it's been proven that they really need it. We have extended day, which I personally think is a great curriculum. At this time, we cannot afford it, and we do not have the space for it. I think people forget that, you know, if you have 2 full-day kindergartens now, or an extended day, and then you add, you're gonna have to double or triple the space. And so, again, it's more money because you're gonna either have to have cottages, portables, or add on to your schools. And then it's more money in staffing and everything. So right now, we don't have that. Also, the data does show that by third grade, as my colleagues have said, you can't really tell who has had. So where they're slipping is actually in first and second grade. So the school board did decide at the retreat to add some first and second grade reading coaches, and that's what I support, to get more in all our schools to really pump in what they learn and to really keep that reading level and expand it so by third day they haven't, you know, fallen behind
Ms.
again.
Nolan?
Obviously, if the money is not there, we can't implement a full-day kindergarten program. However, I love full-day kindergarten. I'm a first grade teacher by trade. The curriculum has changed a lot in the last 15 years. Kids used to learn a letter a week, letter grade, they learned their sounds. Now, if you don't know your letters and sounds before you start kindergarten, you're behind. You're behind in kindergarten, you're behind in first grade. As a teacher, I find it so hard to rely on somebody else's studies when I'm actually in that classroom and living it and seeing the difference that a full-day kindergarten makes. I'd like to be able to find the money for it, but obviously if it's not there, it's not going to be an issue.
Mrs. Strongways?
So the kindergarten question is tough because you hear a lot of horror stories about how expensive it will be. I've been in many school systems where it's been implemented effectively and efficiently. So I do support it. It ties with my reading on grade level priority. And just to give you a good example, we do hear a lot of studies. I've seen tons of studies. I see actually global warming. People still say that there's no global warming. There is global warming. You can get a study to say anything you want. A recent study says a study tracks students from kindergarten into 4th grade, demonstrated that students enrolled in full-day kindergarten received higher report cards and better reading, math, and sciences on standardized tests in 4th grade. So the data, granted, is murky. This is a great, I'm sure there's other ones that can show you exactly opposite of this, but at the end of the day, it is absolutely clear that our minority students do benefit 100% from all-day kindergarten, and I support it.
Ms. Rye?
Yes, I'm on record too. In an ideal world, I would like to see Virginia Beach ultimately have full-day kindergarten when we're one of 4 districts in the entire state that's left with half-day kindergarten. We talk about being a world-class school system, and I feel this is one area, and I don't want to say it's a stain on us, but I think it is a goal that we need to keep that vision and work towards it. Kindergarten teachers will tell you, and another candidate alluded to it, the top-down standards now, kindergarten classrooms, there's so much in the curriculum, academically speaking, that it's a lot to pack into 3.5 hours. And the reality is we have the neediest kids with the Title I program, and we have the wealthier parents who use private school for full-day kindergarten. So it leaves those kids in the middle who are dealing with half-day and not getting the benefit that a full-day program would allow.
Ms. Thompson?
I too, excuse me, I too support the all-day kindergarten, and I understand, as Mrs. Strangeways has said, that you know, data can come at you from both aspects. But again, here's the voice of common sense. Those of us who have children and have been parents know that the more time we spend with our children, the younger they are, the better they are prepared for school, and that's my thing. I want children to be prepared to learn. And they can best do that when they have an all-day kindergarten program. I also feel certain that the more experiences they have with school, the more exposure they have with school, the better they will be. And like I said, as a parent, most of us know that. And I also believe this: a rising tide lifts all ships. And what I mean by that is that we can only be better. All of us can only be better when we spend more time with our children and spend more time investing in them. And I think that even though we may not have the funding right now, it should be a goal. It should be a goal for our district.
The next question will start with Mr. Kelly. Are the energy-saving features of the newer schools actually working? Please be specific. We'll start with Mr. Kelly.
Yes. I'll speak to energy in a brief second. I do want to respond to the all-day just quickly. The research Greg's quoting does say that it goes all the way back to the minority students and the low socioeconomic where the benefit is, and that's exactly what we said. So it supports our position if you don't support all-day kindergarten for all schools. Energy efficiency. I worked on energy efficiency as a principal. When I was in my 4th year as principal, I was president of Virginia Beach Association of Secondary School Principals. I worked with John Mira down at HR to broker a deal so that we could go to 4-day summers, and employees could have Friday off, which sounded great. They still worked 4/10s, but we closed up the schools and we saved several $100,000 each year. So that's one savings. So when you go to energy efficiency, it does work. The schools, when you have lights that are coming on and off automatically, you're saving money. These things do work. When we do recycling, these things work. So I do think they're good, but we got to make sure we put the right ones in place. Ideas like going to solar panels and things like that, the long-range payout is not worth the cost up front. Thank you.
Ms. Weems?
The new buildings,
The question is, are the energy-saving features of the newer schools actually working? Please be specific.
okay. Yes, definitely, and I wish I had Tony Arnold here, and I will get the specifics and send up to your group because I don't have them all. But when we build schools now, we really do build them with the LEED label, which is a lot of energy efficiencies as far as the water, the toilets, the lights coming on and off, and there is been proven that the efficiencies, again, I don't have the amount, but it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of savings. And last year we were able to save as a school board $42.5 million, and a good hunk of that came because we're building buildings very efficiently now. And also with the Callan building, we get responses of, why so much, why so big? That was under budget, and I rated it with the 7 other school buildings built across the state in the same time frame, and that building is between $20 and $30 million less than the other buildings built. So we're doing a good job.
Ms. Melnick?
I don't see that, Kellam High School cost over $100 million. The same builder that built Kellam High School has now offered Norfolk City Public a deal to build 5 schools for the same price. Kellam High School is a LEED project. LEED projects are more expensive. You don't see the benefits from LEED projects for probably 30 or 40 years. LEED products include FSC materials, you know about FSC materials for the Forest Stewardship Council. Those products are no different than any other products. So you do not see a difference. And anything that's added environmentally, the water, the solar panels, that takes a long time to see the difference. And the money did not need to be spent up front for those products.
Mr. Strangways?
So the energy efficiency with buildings, I built the building. I actually had it certified for LEED. This is what a private industry background can bring to you, because what happens when you build a building? Especially we do need to be cognizant of our environment, and it's a social responsibility. At some point in time, the returns get less and less. And going from a basic LEED certification, which is tremendous, a challenge, the cost of getting all the way to a gold certification is significant and returns are minimal. So what we need to be able to do is have our energy efficiency buildings. I support LEED buildings. I do not support going into the expense and cost of going all the way up to gold for the less returns. And I think we need to balance that decision as we build new buildings.
Ms. Rye?
I honestly, I'm trying to think of what I could add to what's been said. I had mentioned in earlier comments about operational and energy efficiencies, and I just continue to impress upon the board that we continue to look at all, to ask of our staff, our very capable staff, that they are exploring all options. And again, in terms of vision, keeping a watch on solar is changing so quickly, and I'm learning a lot about it as well. And when I know that 90% of new power in this country now is coming from solar, that was a stunning statistic to me. Just want to keep, that we're just out there, we're seeing what's happening out there, and we're on top of it, and seeing how it can relate to our system.
Ms. Thompson?
I think that the data will prove that energy saving features work and help us to be fiscally responsible, and I think that's very important. I heard someone mention Mr. Arnold's name, and I think the school board has done a great job in trying to do that, to make sure that we are fiscally responsible by providing energy saving features in our schools. And I think there's an extreme. We can go all the way to extreme. It doesn't mean we have to do that for every school, but certainly we can do our very best in the new schools that we're building. But it's not just a good fiscal idea. Common sense says that this is our environment. This is where we live, and so whatever we can do to preserve it, to be better stewards of it, certainly it would be commendable. So I do support, continuing our efforts towards being conservative toward energy and helping it to help us with our bottom line as well.
Mr. Brunke?
Thank you. First off, when buildings are built, we don't go out and decide we're going to build a silver, gold, and platinum building. We go out and build the best building and the appropriate building for that community, for what the needs are of that community. Those decisions are made during planning. When the building is complete, it may or may not qualify for various standards. The data will show you, and again, like Ms. Weems said, I didn't come here prepared with charts and graphs, but they'll show you significant energy efficiencies in our buildings that we've built recently, some of which are as much as half. You need to do bring some context when we talk about numbers for our school system, and I'll give you some context. We manage 10 million square feet of space. If you change your thermostat in your house 1 degree, you probably don't notice it. When we change our thermostats by 1 degree in the school system, that's $500,000 of your dollars, just to bring some context. Also, we do performance contracting. We make improvements, and those payback periods are between 7 and 12 years. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Norman, did you have anything you wanted to add? You didn't seem like you agree with everything there. You're good? Okay. All right. Next question, and this will be to Ms. Weems, of course to everybody, but with the U.S. falling behind other countries in math scores, the VBCPS policy dissuades teachers from assigning homework and limits homework to a maximum 5% of the grade. What is your policy on homework? And we'll start with Ms. Weems.
Kind of a two-part question. First of all, when we're comparing our scores to different countries, you're comparing apples to oranges. In some countries, they start as early as preschool and segregate the kids. They're not testing children with learning differences or learning disabilities.